Welcome to SKML Chess Academy. Here we will be seeing, in this video we will be discussing the bishop's opening Urusov Gambit. Urusov Gambit is played by initiated by the white by giving up two pawns. So if black accept the second pawn, now it is known as Urusov Gambit accepted. That is the line which we are discussing in this video. Now the move order is e4, e5. You know that bishop's opening is characterized by the second move bishop c4. The later this can be transformed to many other lines, but here we will be in this video we are discussing the Urusov Gambit. So here bishop c4, knight f6. Here first white sacrifices the first pawn on d4. When e into d4 accepts, then white offers second pawn by playing knight f3. So when black accepts the knight into e4, this is known as the Urusov Gambit. Accepted. Queen into d4. Now knight can be saved by two ways. One is bring a defender to defend the knight, or move the knight to a safe square. So the queen e7 is refuted by castling the uh, king on king side and putting the rook on e1. So here black avoids that queen e7 line and it chooses one of the knight moves. So knight can move to knight f6, knight d6 and knight c5. Let us see what happens when knight moves to d6. Knight f6 line is the main line. We will be discussing that in the same in this video at a later stage. Now knight d6 is played. Then here what white castles immediately. White castles immediately. So here if black thinks that it can grab the well developed bishop of white, then it is a mistake. Now here white will first say check here, then the only way to save the check is bishop e7, because if queen is placed here, then immediately black loses the queen. So queen captures the g7 pawn. White ignores the recapture of the knight and goes for the g7 pawn. So black has to move his rook to a safe square. Then bishop h6. Now here in this line, black at least lose a exchange. If we want to save this game by playing d6, it can take this, you go here, then castling, and this is the line. This is how it will lose an exchange. Let us see another line. Let us see another line. This is the knight d6 line, second one. e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e into d4, knight f3, knight e into e4, queen into d4, knight d6. We have seen here white castles. Here, instead of capturing the bishop, if black tries to develop his other knight, still white goes for a check. Then we have seen already in the previous line what happens if bishop comes to e7. So here black plays knight e7. So here the bishop comes to bishop b3 since it was attacked by the knight. Then here if knight tries to attack the queen on the d4 by playing knight df5, then queen simply comes to d5 and attacking the f7 square for a mate threat. So knight falls back, the knight comes to g5. Then to attack the knight, if they play f6, there is a surprise here. Then queen f7, knight into f7, bishop into f7, checkmate. So seeing these two lines, we can conclude knight d6 is not good. Now let us see knight c5 line. So here we have seen knight has three squares to go: e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e into d4, knight f3, knight into e4, queen into d4, knight c5. Here, last video, last line we have seen knight d6 lines. We have seen two lines. We have seen one is capturing the bishop, one is not capturing the bishop and developing the other knight, knight to c6. Here we will be seeing knight c5 line. If knight c5, then in this white develops his bishop to g5. Here bishop e7. If here, instead of if f6 is played, bishop will fall to bishop e3. So here bishop g5, bishop e7, queen into g7, again queen comes to and takes this, and now in this line king side is opened up and white has an excellent game. Now let us see in another game where fifth one is the now fifth move, white plays the main line knight f6. So let us see: e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e into d4, knight f3, knight into e4, queen into d4, knight f6. This is the main line we entered. We have already seen what happens when knight moves to d6 and what happens if knight moves to c5. Now let us see knight f6. In the knight f6 line, white prefers to castle on queen side. First, it will develop the queen side pieces, minor pieces. Then it develops it castles on queen side and attacks on the king side. And it knows that in the most of the lines here, the black castles on the king side. Now let us see. Black this after knight f6. Now bishop g5, taking out from the queen side, moving out the pieces from the queen side and making way for the castling. Then here bishop e7, knight c3. Here the here black has three lines of move orders. Let's see one by one. First line is knight attacks the queen. Queen moves to h4. Here castles, and black castles on the king side, white castles on queen side. Here d6, making way for the light square bishop of black, diagonal clear in this. So black want to develop his bishop to bishop f5, preventing this diagonal, taking control of the uh, b1 h7 diagonal. So to prevent that, first white has to move to bishop d3. It stops the bishop f5 and threatens queen into h7 after capturing the f6 knight. So here there are again two ways. One of the two ways to do that is one is h6. When f6, bishop into h6. Here again black has two moves. Here g into h6 fails to queen into h6, and white has enough compensation, threatening knight d5, then queen h7. So knight b4, it tries to capture this, then it moves knight to g5, knight into d3, check, rook into d3, bishop f5, controlling this diagonal, or defending the f7 h7 square and attacking the d3 rook. So rook moves to here to g3, bishop goes to g g6. Now black thinks that okay, it is well saved, but no, it's far from the truth. If has white has an excellent move in the knight e6. One is here the move threatens the mate on the g7 square, right, and also force the queen and rook. So black has to take this knight, then queen into g6 check, king h8, and queen g g7 check. So g into h6 failed. Now let us see knight d5. Instead of taking this g into h6, black can also play knight d5, attacking the queen with the bishop with the open. But here it also fails when you bring the bishop to g5. So this line, the queen into queen h7 threat is renewed, and also this knight is hanging. So clear advantage to white in this line. Let us see next line where there is a G6 line in the 10 knight f6, 5 knight f6 and 10 gx line. It happens like this: d4 e5 bishop c4 knight f6 d4 e into d4 knight f3 knight into e6 queen into d4 knight f6 bishop g5 bishop e7 knight c3 knight c6 queen h4 castling on the queen side. Here d6 and we know that bishop d3. From this position, what happens if black tries h6 we have already seen. Now let us see what happens if black plays 10 g6. When plays g6, then we bring the rook h to e1, want to capture the e7, eliminate the e7 bishop. So to save this e7 bishop, two ways. One is rook f8 to rook e8. Another one is bishop to e6. Let us see for what happens if brings rook e8. Even if you rook e8, then white eliminates this bishop. Black captures with the queen. Bishop into f6. Queen goes to f8 and knight d5. White has an excellent attack chances in this line. Now let us see, instead of rook e8, if it tries to interfere by placing a obstacle in this file by playing bishop e6. In bishop e6, immediately white plays g4. So to attack the bishop by placing the bishop to f5, preparing the move g4 for this. In one of the game, here if he plays some f5 or something, then the white will play bishop to f5. In one of the game, before allowing the bishop to come to here, so he black eliminated the g4 pawn. Here white has other ideas. He will first take the rook into e6, f into e6, queen into g4, tactical shot where with one rook he got two minor pieces. Here if bishop into g5, knight into g5, rook into f2, queen into e6 check, king h8, knight f7 check, rook into f7, queen into f7. So white is a piece of clearly. So normal line here 12 g4. If he plays black plays a5, so he want to play bishop f5 to eliminate the e6 bishop. Now let us see what happens in another line where knight b d7 line. It is known as a knight b7 line. Here e4 e5 bishop c4 knight f6 d4 e into d4 knight f3 knight into e4 queen into d4 knight f6 bishop g7 bishop into bishop e7 knight c3. Here we have already seen what happens when the knight develops to knight c6. So queen shifts to h4, then attacks. Now let us see what happens in the seventh move. Instead of knight c6, black castles here. Let us see black castles on king side, so white castles on queen side. Now instead of knight c6, here black prefers to play c6. So in order to play d5 to shut this f7 threat. But here as usual rook h2 even d5, then here bishop comes to d3. Here instead of d5, sometimes black can also try h6. In h6, bishop into h6, g into h6, queen comes to e3, so rook comes to e8. Here bishop into f7, check, king into f7, knight into knight e5 check, king g7, queen g3 check, knight g4, take the free piece, bishop g5 check. through f4, stopping the check, also attacking the bishop. Bishop cannot move. Queen f6, f into g5, queen into g5, queen into g5, h into g5, rook d6. So white has an excellent lead in development. So let us see what happens. Rook h5, rook he1. So instead of h6, let us see what happens in the main line d5. Then here bishop comes to d6, bishop d3, bishop e6. Now queen h4. Here again black has three lines. One is knight b d7. We will be discussing the knight b d7 line in this. Bishop d7, bishop into h7 check, knight into h2. Then if here instead of knight into h7, if king goes to h8, this is the excellent move for the king. h8, bishop into e6, f into e6, rook into e6 is the excellent for the white. Now here instead of, if knight takes, you after bishop into h7, knight into h7, then bishop into e7, white will be exchange up. Now let us see another line in the 7 castling line. e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e into d4, knight f3, knight into d4, queen into d4, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop e7, knight c3, castles, castle on queen side, c6, rook he1, d5. Now bishop goes to bishop d3. Now here bishop comes to e6, bishop e6, queen h4. So here what happens if 11 played by g6? Last time we have seen h6 and we have also seen knight b d7. What happens in the last line? We have seen the h6 and knight b d7. Now here we will be going to see the g6 line. g6, then comes the knight d4. Want to eliminate the e6 bishop. So e6, then knight into e6, f into e6, rook into e6, knight b d7, f4. Want to push to f5, king f7, f5, g into f5, rook d e1 and b5. So white has an excellent attacking chances in this line. Now let us see knight d4, rook e8. Here black can also play, instead of rook e8, black can also play bishop d7. So it moves away from this line. If it moves away from the line, that is what we want. We will eliminate the e7 bishop. Rook into e7, queen into e7, bishop into f6. So we have an excellent attacking chances. Now white has to move away from here. If he moves away, then what is the white idea is? White idea is to move to h6. So he has to hang around. This black queen has to hang around, protect, always making threat on the f6 by playing queen to queen to d6 line or something. This is the line which we have seen, 11 g6 line. Let us see h6 line. Here e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e into d4, knight f6, knight into e4, queen into d4, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop e7, knight c3. Here we castle on black castles on king side, white castles on queen side, c6, rook h1, d5. Here we went to bishop d3. Last time we have seen what happens in other lines. Now here bishop d3, bishop e6. Now we play queen h4. Here h6, if white played h6, rook into e6. Immediately we are capturing the e6. We are eliminating the e6 bishop. H into g5, then knight into g5. F into e6, bishop h7 check. King h8, bishop f5 check. King g8, bishop into e6 check. Rook f7, bishop into f7 check. King f8, queen h8 checks. Knight g8, queen into g8 check. This is the, you see from here 13 to 19 there is a forced mate within the 6 moves. So here after 12th move rook into e6, we see another line. What happens if f captures the rook? F into e6, bishop into f6, h6, knight e4. Here, if instead of knight e4, if takes g into h6, queen g3 check, king h8, queen g6, queen e8, queen into h6 check, king g8, knight e5, queen h5, bishop h7 check, knight into h7 and queen into h5. Black does not have enough. Black does not have enough compensation in this line. That's all. In this video, we have seen Urusov Gambit in the bishop opening, and we will cover bishop opening Urusov Gambit declined in the next video. Thank you very much for all of you who are patiently waiting. Last 2 days, I could not make any videos because of I was attending a tournament. From here, the tournament was over yesterday, and I will be doing continuously. Thank you very much. Please like it, share it, subscribe it. Thank you very much.